All right, so sections 4.4 and 4.5, they put together both of them, credit cards and the statements. So instead of talking about just credit cards and then just statements, I kind of put them together so it makes more sense, so you can kind of see how all of it ties together. So you're looking at computing your average daily balance, because that's how they charge you interest on a credit card. And then also looking at your credit card statement and how they find all of that info. All right, so not required to pay an entire balance each month. You are required to make minimum monthly payments, and there's finance charges for the remaining balance. What is that? Credit card or debit card? Let's say credit card. Credit card, you're not required to pay the entire balance. Should you if you could? Yes. Make sure you pay them off as fast as you can. Let's say you get into a pinch and you have to use your credit card. You don't have to pay that off every month. They're going to charge you a percentage, right? An APR, annual percentage rate. They're going to charge that on anything that you have still on your credit card balance. But then a debit card deducts the money directly from your checking account every time you make a purchase. Okay, so just make sure we're clear on the difference there, right? Debit card is linked directly to your bank account. Trinity? No. Good question. If you guys heard what she said, she asked if a debit card helps your credit, and no, it does not. Yeah, Neil, don't be like Neil. Don't pay off one credit card with another credit card. That's not a good idea. Doesn't mean you should do it. All right, just some other kind of vocab stuff for you guys so you know what it is. The Truth in Lending Act, that protects you if your credit card is lost or stolen. So you may be partially responsible if you lose your card, though, but the maximum liability for you guys if you lose it is only $50. So if you lose it, somebody charges $1,000 worth of stuff on it, you only have to pay $50 for it. You won't have to pay more than $50 if you lose it, okay? And you're not responsible, though, if you notify your creditor, like right away you lost it, nobody's charged anything on it yet, you let them know, hey, I lost my card. If you let them know before a charge is made, then you don't have to pay anything. So as soon as you realize a credit card is missing, make sure you contact the company that they know that. The Fair Credit Billing Act protects you in case there's any errors in your credit card statement. I think a lot of people have a tendency to just look at their statements and they're like, yep, I owe this much, okay, and then just like kind of pay their bill. Make sure you look at things. Sometimes there's errors, okay? It's usually humans putting in data, right? So we know how easy it is to mix up a number here, there, or whatever. So make sure you actually look carefully. But if you notice there is an error on your card statement, then you don't have to pay any finance charges, no interest or anything until that is cleared up and everything's taken care of. So make sure you're looking at things. And then the Fair Debt Collection Practice protects you from collectors harassing you or using other means to collect payment. If you're in a pinch and things happen in life and you cannot pay your credit card, make sure you contact them. Most companies, banks, and other, anywhere you owe money, if you let them know, hey, I'm in a hard spot right now, I lost my job, I don't have any money, like I'm trying to get things worked out, but I'm going to be late this month. Let them know, okay? They will be happier to know that you're working on it than you just ignoring it like it doesn't exist. Okay, so make sure you let them know immediately if you can't pay it. All right, so number one, Frank lost his credit card in the local mall. He notified his creditor before the card was used. However, later in the day, someone found the card and charged $700 worth of hockey equipment on it. How much is Frank responsible for paying? Zero. Why zero? Yep, he let him know before anything was charged on it, so nothing. As long as you let him know before charges are made, you don't owe anything on it if something happens to it. Number two, Jane's credit card was stolen. She didn't realize it for days, at which point she notified her creditor. During that time, someone charged $2,000. How much is Jane responsible for paying? $50. Good. All right, so we've seen the difference, right? Let them know right away, that way you don't have to pay anything. And anymore, a lot of credit cards, like I have a credit card I just got not long ago from, can't think today, Costco. My Costco credit card. I can use that anywhere, not just at Costco. But like there's an option on there, because I have the app on my phone, that if I lose my card, I can literally turn my card off from the app on my phone, which is really cool. That way, if anything happens, oh my God, I can't find it, just turn it off on my phone. I don't have to call anybody. So it's very easy nowadays to let them know that something's wrong with it. All right. Credit card billing is usually done on a monthly basis, right? You get your bill once a month, but interest rates are always given as annual interest rates. They're always APRs. So we have to convert them to monthly before we can find the finance charges. Okay? So number 3, credit card companies issue a monthly statement. Therefore, APR must be converted to a monthly percentage rate. If the APR is 21.6%, what is the monthly interest rate? Don't think too hard, guys. How do I convert that? I just divide it by 12. Yeah, because keep in mind, it says APR. That stands for annual percentage rate. But if I'm getting charged on a monthly basis, I'm not getting charged that whole percent every month. So I'm going to take the 21.6, and we're going to divide that by 12 to figure out what my monthly rate is then. So it'd be 1.8%. So they're charging me 1.8% every single month for the entire year. Which doesn't seem as bad that way, right? Still adds up, though. So if the APR on a credit card is 18.6%, what's the monthly interest rate? Good. 18.6 divided by 12 is 1.55%. So that's probably the biggest thing to remember if we're dealing with credit card stuff is they're going to give you an APR. Just remember that stands for annual. So remember, our units always have to match, right? If we're talking months, everything has to be in terms of months. And statements are always done every month. All right. So the average of the amounts you owe each day of the billing period is referred to as your average daily balance. So what we're going to look at doing is calculating, if you get your monthly statement, how do they calculate how much you owe in interest? And the way they do that is by finding your average daily balance. So it changes because depending on how often you use your card, you're making purchases or you're making payments on it, from day to day. So remember how to find an average. It's when you add them all up, divide by how many there are. Do you guys know how many days are in every month? You're going to need to know that. It's usually 30 or 31, except for February is 28. All right, so here we go. So number 5, Rebecca did not pay last month's credit card bill in full. Below is a list of Rebecca's daily balances for her last billing cycle. So we need to figure out what her average daily balance was. So for 7 days, she owed $456.11. So what we're going to do then is we are going to multiply 7 times $456.11. So depending on how many days that balance sat, we're going to multiply those together because that's like we're figuring out every day, add them all up, dividing it. So then for 3 days, so plus 3 days, it was at $1177.60. Plus for 6 days, she owed $990.08. Plus 9 days, she owed $2115.15. Plus for 5 days, $2309.13. And it wants us then to find her average daily balance. So let's figure that out first. Everybody go ahead and try this just to make sure because we're hitting a lot of buttons. It's easy to make a mistake. Do you have a question, Trina? Sure. Oh, and I typed something in wrong. There we go. All right, double check yours versus mine. 43,248.05. Do you guys confirm? Somebody else got what I got? Okay. Just making sure. It's really easy to hit a wrong button somewhere in there. Does that mean she owes $43,000? No. What we just did is we added up what her balance was every single day of the month. That's what we did. Okay, so then if I want to find the average, we have to divide that by the number of days. Well, to figure out the number of days, right? 7 days, 3 days, 6 days, 9 days, 5 days. How many days is that? So 7 and 3 is 10, 16, 25, 30. Good. So divide by 30. So her average for her daily balance is $1,441.60. So just keep in mind what an average is. It's when you add them all up, divide by how many you have. So we just kind of took the shortcut when we did like 7 times the 456.11, 3 times the 1177, right? Like we just, instead of writing out the 456.11 7 times, right, I can take the shortcut and just multiply those. Does that make sense? Are we okay? Why does the balance from every day, why does that change? Like, why did she go 7 days at this balance, and then suddenly it went up to here for 3 days? She bought something, right? And then it dropped. What did she do? She paid something off. Or she returned something, right? If you return something that you bought on a credit card, they usually put it back on the credit card. So, yeah. So it's going to change a little bit depending on what you got going on for the month. Questions on finding the average daily balance? All right. Why don't you guys try this one then? Okay? All right. Looking through there, you add them all up. We should have had 16,122.31. And I added up how many days we were talking about, and that gave me 31. So just divide $520.07. How'd we do? How easy is it to hit a wrong button when you're typing all that in? It's easy. Yeah, so big deal here, guys, when you're doing these, go through and do it once. Maybe go back and do it again, just to make sure you type it all in right. If you get the same answer twice in a row, you're probably okay. But if you do it twice and you get a different answer, something's wrong. All right, so finance charges, though, are not charged if in the previous month you paid your credit card in full. Okay, so that's one thing you want to keep in mind. Every month, if you go ahead and pay it off entirely, you won't ever pay a finance charge. They do your finance charge based on the previous month. So when you get your first bill and you pay it off, you're not paying any finance charges. Now, if you get your first bill and you don't pay it all off, then you will the next month pay finance charges for it. Okay? All right, so finance charge or interest, which we're going to work on next, is you take your monthly percentage rate, which we worked on first, right? You took your APR divided by 12. Bless you. And if you want to make a note of that, that's your APR divided by 12, just so you remember how to do that. And then you multiply that by the average daily balance. Again, average daily balance, add them up, divide by how many you have, or how many days. look at your purple formula sheet. At the top, you have how to find finance charges, right, for installment plans, monthly loans, and then you also have a credit card, and it is written right there for your credit card. Monthly interest rate converted to a decimal times the average daily balance. I had to go back home, go back to bed. Appreciate that. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't teach this. This month. With another credit card. Yeah, it's not that much. We already got $4 grand laying around, right? You're ridiculous. All right, Rebecca, from example 5, pays a finance charge on her average daily balance of $1,441.60, right? We already figured that out on number 5. Her APR is 18%. What is her finance charge for this billing cycle? So again, when you see finance charge, like come test time, we're looking at the top here, right? You have your 3 things of how we're doing finance charges. So credit cards is your monthly interest rate. Do we know her monthly interest rate? No, we have her APR. So her annual is 18. We have to divide that by 12 to find her monthly, which is 1.5%. That is her monthly rate. Okay, and then to find her finance charge, again, purple paper, you guys need to learn to read these things. It is actually right on here, right? Your monthly interest rate converted to a decimal, which is going to be 0.015. Multiply that by your average daily balance. And they gave you her average daily balance was $1,441.60. So for that month, she's going to pay $21.62 in interest. How are we doing? You did something wrong? Are we seeing where I'm pulling all that stuff from, though? Annual, take it out to monthly, change it to a decimal, multiply it by her average daily balance. All right, so Sunny had these daily balances on her credit card for her last billing period. Since she did not pay the card in full the previous month, she's going to have to pay a finance charge. The APR is 19.8%. So they gave us, she only had kind of 4 different changes in her balances through the month. First question, what is her average daily balance? So again, we're going to do 5 times 354.59 plus 3 times 1246.54 plus 10 times 789.64 plus 11 times 654.83. All right, give me a sec. Double check what I get and see if it's the same as yours. Because we know how hard it is to make sure we hit all the right buttons, right? All right, say yours again, $20,612.10. That's not what you said at all, is it? Or did you go ahead and divide it already? Okay, that is what you got though? Okay. And then we're going to divide that by 20. Yeah. Yeah, it's 29. No, my brain just went, wait a minute, there's usually 28, 30, or 31 days, so must have been February and a leap year, be my guess. That's weird that that's 29. We'll just go with that. It was a leap year. All right, so divide by 29. So $710.76. So that was her average daily balance. Now, I want you guys to kind of notice something else, though. Her average daily balance, if this is the end of her billing cycle, see how she doesn't actually owe this much? So even though she has knocked her balance down lower, they're still charging interest on your average daily balance for the entire month. So if you charge something super expensive and then went back and paid it off a few days later, that's still going to affect your interest because of they take your average. But if you pay it off in full, do you get charged anything? Any interest rate? No. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you're going to use it because you want to, like, I don't know, get points or whatever for credit cards, because a lot of people do that, just be aware of that. If you're not going to pay it off in full, you will get charged for the average for the month. So just be careful. So then what is the finance charge? Well, for APR, her APR is 19.8. What do I have to do with that number first? Divide it by 12. So it's 1.65%. Do I multiply it by 1.65? No. What do I have to do with that number? Good. So 0.0165 divided by 100, right? Change that. Multiply that then by your average daily balance. It's 0.0165 times 710.76. $11.73. Round to the nearest cent. There's a couple of you in here who miss a lot of points on quizzes and whatnot because you don't round. So be careful. Make sure you're rounding carefully. All right. How are we feeling? Pretty good and tired. I heard both. All right. All right. Let's stop there. I don't want to get into this today.